Hi and welcome back to Love English. I'm Leila and today I'm going to help you understand the difference between formal and informal English a little bit better. Now, here's the thing. There is spoken English or colloquial English. This includes things like phrasal verbs, idiomatic expressions, and of course slang. And then there is more formal English. This includes not using contractions, using more formal vocabulary and expressions. And grammar. There's even more formal structures and sentences that you can use in English to be more formal, more polite, more academic, more business-like. And of course, it means not using too many phrasal verbs and definitely not using slang. Now, when do you need to use formal English? Well, there are lots of situations. At my university where I teach, of course, it is very important to know how to write in formal English, to know how to structure an essay or a report. And then, of course, there's seminars, presentations, where you need to make sure you show yourself in a formal manner, abiding by academic and formal English language conventions. And then in business situations, formal English is essential. Whether you're having a meeting with colleagues, giving a presentation, or of course writing letters and emails, you need to know how to write and speak in formal British English. So in today's lesson, I'm going to share with you some common words that you would use in spoken English and give you the more formal equivalent. This is a series of lessons that we will be going through to help you understand the difference between formal and informal English. So if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button and of course the notifications bell so you are one of the first to be notified when we upload our lessons. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. Let's get started. Formal versus informal. Expressions and vocabulary. Let's go. So the words I'm looking at today are verbs. They are referring to actions of some sort. And I imagine that the informal word you would be very familiar with. These are probably some of the first words you learned when you began your English language journey. So let's get started. Number 1, find out. Find out. Now find out is of course a phrasal verb and it is very commonly used in English. She wanted to find out his number. However, in formal English, discover or ascertain. Ascertain. Discover would be more neutral, ascertain would be very formal. I need to ascertain exactly what was said in the meeting. Free. In this case, we're saying not free to buy, it doesn't cost anything, but we're talking about freeing someone. So release. Release would be the formal equivalent. She freed the bird, she released the bird. She freed the press release, no. Can you release the press release? She freed the figures? She released the figures. She released the figures. Get. Oh yes. The most, or one of the most, common words in the English language, to get. But it is very much a word that we speak, and in academic and of course business English, you wouldn't want to keep using get. It doesn't sound particularly formal or educated. So better to use obtain. Obtain. You wouldn't say, can you obtain me a coffee? But you would ask someone to obtain figures or data for you. Get me a coffee? I obtained the funds. I obtained the money. Get in touch. Get in touch. Get in touch with somebody. Can you get in touch with the other manager of the department? No, better in formal English to say, can you contact? Can you contact him, please? Come in. Actually, more formal, enter. Enter. If you're giving this as an instruction, be careful because it could also sound a little bit too strong to use enter. Sounds more like an instruction, being bossy. If you say come in, great. If you tell someone to enter, it's almost like you're going to punish them or tell them off. What time did she enter the meeting? Go against. She went against him. She disagreed with him. Oppose. She opposed him. She opposed him. She went against his idea. She opposed his proposal for an earlier meeting. Two that are very similar here, go down and go up. Simply, it is much better to say increase and decrease. increase and decrease. For any of you studying IELTS and doing the part 1, then you know you need to refer to graphs and bar charts, and you should be using the numbers increased or the numbers decreased, not went down or went up. Now, in a letter, in an email, you would write, it concerns. This concerns. In a text message, you would probably write, it's about. I need to talk to you about. Whereas, formal English, I need to talk to you concerning. I need to talk to you concerning. I need to talk to you concerning the proposal you put on my desk yesterday. Texting, I need to talk to you, it's about the proposal. Formal versus informal. Another verb that you would commonly use, to buy. I bought some sunglasses. Formal English, purchase. Purchase. You wouldn't say I purchased a pair of sunglasses, but if you're in an academic situation, you might refer to the number of purchases. You might say it's popular to purchase the new iPhone. Keep. Keep the information, or in formal English, retain. Retain the information, or retain the funds, the money. We'd say funds rather than referring to money. That's another one there, formal versus informal. So funds, money, retain. Keep the money, retain the funds. To leave out. I think you should leave that out of the report. More formal, I think you should omit that from the report. To leave out. To let or allow. She let me in. She let me retain the funds. Or, she permitted me to retain the funds. She permitted me to retain the funds. Permit someone. You do need a pronoun there or a noun, referring to the object. She permitted me to do something. Look at. I think we need to look at the figures again. In more formal English, examine. Examine. I think we should examine those figures again. Makeup. No, not the stuff that I put on my face. When you're referring to creating a story that isn't true, she made up a lie. In this case, we would say fabricate, to fabricate something. She fabricated a story explaining why she was late to work. In fact, she'd been drinking the night before. To make up, to fabricate. Need. Need to. I really need to go to the toilet. Normal English. In formal English, require. I need you to get the report on my desk by 5 o'clock. I require the report by 5 o'clock. Require. Point out. She pointed out the mistake in my presentation. Indicate. Indicate. She indicated there was a mistake in my presentation. And in more formal English, it might be better to use the word error. Error doesn't sound as strong as mistake. To put off. Another phrasal verb. I think we need to put off the meeting until tomorrow. How about delay? Delay. In exactly the same way, we would not use call off. Call off. We would say cancel. Cancel the meeting. We need to cancel the meeting. So again, phrasal verbs with their more formal equivalent. Put up. I had to put up with my boss being really rude in the meeting. Another phrasal verb, but in fact, the formal equivalent to tolerate. I tolerate my boss's behaviour. I tolerate his behaviour. Ring up. Ring up. You wouldn't use ring up, you would use simply call. She rang me up or she called me. Not a big difference there compared to some of the others, but again, it can make a big difference in a more formal business situation. Say sorry. I'm so sorry. Nothing wrong with the word sorry, very powerful word, great if you mean it. But in more formal English, if you're writing a letter, you might use the word apologise, apologise. So to apologise, I apologise is the verb, and apology is the noun. My apologies, using the noun there, or I apologise, but better than using sorry in formal situations. Seem, you really seem a little bit tired today. Nothing wrong with that in natural spoken English or in a text message, but in more formal academic situations, you would probably use the verb appear. Appear. You appear a little tired. Set up. He set up a business. Great phrasal verb. Really nice if you know it. Academic English, formal business English, established. He established his business in 2005. Or he set up. He began the business. He started it. Informal English. The graph shows there is an increase in the number of people buying Coca-Cola. The graph illustrates there is an increase in the number of people buying Coca-Cola. So illustrates, more formal, great for IELTS, guys. Show up. What time did she show up? Or what time did she turn up? Again, these phrasal verbs are so commonly spoken that when it comes to writing them, it seems the natural thing to do when you are writing even in academic and formal situations. Much better to say arrive. Arrive. Start. Simple word, easy enough to use, nothing wrong with using it, but more formal, more academic, commence. Commence. You'll often hear this in more formal situations, like with the Olympics. They'll talk about an event commencing rather than starting. It just sometimes sounds a little bit more formal and appropriate. The meeting commenced at 10 o'clock. Think about. Really common, so common that of course you really need to think about what would be the more formal equivalent. Consider. Consider. What are you considering? What options are you considering? More formal. We've also got the word live. So simple, but in fact, we've got a more formal equivalent. Reside. Reside. Where do you reside? Quite unusual. I would say that reside would more commonly be used in written formal English than spoken. It does sound a bit strange to even say it. You wouldn't ask someone where they reside. And of course, the noun is residence. Residence. So do pay attention to the connection in those words. The word families. What's the noun? What's the verb? To reside, the verb. Residence is the place where you live. Argue. Argue. We do have quite a few different words for argue, but ultimately disagree would be one of the easiest, and quarrel might be another nice one to use. They had a disagreement, or they were disagreeing over the issues. And finally, I'm going to leave you with one more verb, help. Help. Nothing wrong with that, but of course in business and at a university, you'll often require help, but instead you can use assist. Can I assist you? Could I be of some assistance? So to assist is the verb and assistance is the noun, and we could use both of these in slightly different ways, but certainly when it comes to writing formal English, you would use assist and assistance. And that's it, guys. Just a few words for you there, but hopefully you'll be able to think a little bit more about the difference in the vocabulary you use when you're writing in formal English, whether that is for university or a business situation, or of course, if you need to write a letter of complaint or a serious letter that needs to deal with an issue, using formal English is essential. People will take you more seriously, think you are more educated and have a better grasp of the English language. But we do realise just how tricky it is to navigate the differences between formal and informal English, so this is just the first of many lessons helping you understand those differences, improving your spoken English and of course your writing. So have a go, comment below. Try using some of the new formal words I have taught you. I'm sure you can do it. And if I can be of any assistance, comment below. Thanks for watching. Bye.